What's going on, everybody? Today is Tuesday, November 12th, episode 11 of Picks and Parleys. We're waiting with bated breath here for the Week 11 college football playoffs rankings to come out. They were supposed to come out 25 minutes ago, so we're just kind of waiting right now.
Something to kind of filibuster here. The Diego Pavia story that's out right now. I did minimal research, but some research still on 3 and All College Football Report that quarterback Diego Pavia's temporary restraining order against the NCAA has been denied. And I didn't know what the fuck that meant, how you have a restraining order against your governing body in the sport you play. And it looks like he blew up so hard this year from the success that Vanderbilt's had against big name schools that he is trying to sue the NCAA for more years of eligibility because it's a last ditch effort because he knows he's not going to go get a big deal or anything in the NFL. He wants to profit off of the NIL for a couple more years. So it's funny with the ends of the spectrum here. You have Cam Rising in Utah and that tight end for the U who've been playing for 8 years, and they're just like, they just keep giving them red shirts and everything. And then Pavia is like begging to come back, and he's been electric for them, and they're not allowing it, which I think I'm on their side because it's just the rules.
Yeah,
where he could probably like make some money if he gets a fucking job. Maybe after all your years of college are done, like fucking everybody
going
else
to
does.
Vanderbilt, like good fucking school.
Yeah.
Either go sit on the practice squad like a fucking man in the NFL, or just go sell insurance.
Somebody in the comments
real estate,
said,
brother.
Somebody in the comments said, "Get ready to learn LinkedIn, buddy."
Yeah, go start posting Instagram stories about how you're studying for your real estate license. That would have been hilarious if they granted his restraining order and then he just wasn't allowed to play and collect NIL for the rest of the year. It's like, well, you can't play college football.
Like the monkey paw shit.
Would they technically be considered? Well, I guess NIL. Do most NILs come straight from the school? Like, it's not necessarily affiliated with the NCAA in total. Like, because I was going to say, technically, then if the NCAA is facilitating that, then each player is like a subsidiary. So it's like, oh yeah, you also can't profit from NIL while you're. It would be funny if his restraining order, like you said, got granted and he ended up playing even less football than he's bargaining for.
If Indeed.com was smart, they'd be running commercials all over the Nashville area with him as their fucking spokesperson.
Cam Rising is trying his fucking hardest to never play football again with all these injuries. And then they just keep throwing red shirts.
Cam Rising is going on like year 40 of fucking his college football career, and he's fucking ass.
Dude, he is so bad.
Fucking dog shit.
I hate him so much now. Watching him pisses me off.
That fucking what's his name? Cam McCormick at the U. He's the same like recruiting class. I wasn't fucking recruited. He was the same class in high school as me. I've had a job for like 6 years now.
And he's been around in big was he in Oregon before?
Yeah. He was in Oregon.
Big programs.
The rankings are out, by the way, now.
Nice.
Boy.
Wait, before we bring him up, Lewis and I were calling our shot at who were we saying was dropping down to 10 potentially?
I can tell you the first two are out if you want to guess who those two are.
Who did we say would drop down to 10?
Miami, I think you said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we said.
I thought Miami would be between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Because you said, how far do you think Miami falls? And I said, is 10 too far? And you said that's exactly what you were thinking.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far at all.
If they were reasonable, I think that's pretty fair. There's a woman on, I forget her name, on Pat McAfee, on McAfee's show saying, like, don't count out a 3-loss SEC school. which is just fucking
You definitely should.
ridiculous.
I think you can maybe count out some 2-loss SEC schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to just run through the rankings here?
Go
Do we
for
care
it.
about? Do we care about north of 15?
I don't
Yeah,
know
just
north of 15. So
You
Who's
don't
the
know
first
north
two
of
out
15?
and then go
first
down?
two out, number 14 was SMU, and then they're ranked number 12, but because Boise State is number 13 and we get in over them, Georgia is the first team out of the playoff.
So I was going to ask that question. So Notre Dame is considered a Power 4 school, even though they're not in a conference. They're not the G5
Yes.
rep. Okay,
Yes.
I agree with that, but that's
Notre Dame cannot
weird.
be the G5 rep.
Okay, because I am pretty sure I figured out that it's going to be not in this order, obviously, but the Big 12 champ, and I think there will only be one Big 12 team. So it's going to be whoever ends up beating BYU in the Big 12 championship, because I think their days are numbered.
Yep.
The ACC champ, so probably the winner of Miami and SMU. And then Notre Dame, I don't know if I would necessarily put them in, but I think they're going to be in. The group of 5 rep, that's 4. I think you get Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State. So that's 4, which means there's only 4 spots for the SEC. And that's between Texas, A&M, Tennessee, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Missouri. All only have 2 losses. And
Texas has 1 loss, right?
Yeah. And
yeah.
2 losses or less. So like I don't think Missouri is for real, but I went through and I counted every team's like what I would call like significant wins and then who they lost to just in general, and went through all of their remaining schedule. And this is kind of obvious already, but the fate of this conference comes down to 2 games essentially. It is Texas at Texas A&M, because I think if Texas wins, A&M's probably bounced. But if A&M wins, I still think Texas probably finds a way to get in, and I think A&M definitely gets in then, because then they're going to the SEC championship, and I think that's the only way you could get a 3-loss SEC school in, is if it's the SEC championship is 2 2-loss teams.
Yeah.
And the other one is, so that's rivalry week. And then the other one is this week, Tennessee at Georgia. I think if Tennessee wins, Georgia's done. I don't think anyone would really dispute that. I think if Georgia wins, now you have this weird 3-way tie where Tennessee beat Bama, Bama beat Georgia, Georgia beat Tennessee, and you probably end up leaving one of those 3 teams out, and whatever fan base that happens to is going to go absolutely fucking ballistic.
I think it has to be Bama. I'm looking at their last 3 games. We talked about it briefly in a recent episode. It's Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn.
Yep.
So
yeah.
This is what I wanted. I want that to happen so somebody's really pissed.
Yeah.
I still think something is going. So just to go through the rest of the rankings with you guys before we go any further, it's so last team in would be Boise State, and then Ole Miss, Alabama, Miami at 9, Notre Dame 8, Tennessee 7, BYU 6, Indiana jumped up to 5, Penn State 4, Texas 3, Ohio State 2, Oregon 1.
Oh shit, Big Ten.
So Notre Dame. I don't know what to make of Notre Dame, because they have, I think, the worst loss probably of the top 25. And comfortably the worst loss of the top 25. I think their only tough remaining game is this Army game this weekend. And I could see both sides where you could say you might want to pencil in Notre Dame for one more loss just because they're due for a stinker. Or you could say like, hey, like, let's just throw that game out because it's such a statistical anomaly. And if Notre Dame loses one more, I think all 3 of those all three of those SEC teams get in, no questions asked.
I personally, if Notre Dame loses another game, I'd rather see a 3-loss SEC team in, even if it's not someone in the national or the conference championship, because losing to fucking Northern Illinois and then making the college football playoff is so fucking annoying because you played an absolute cupcake schedule and you're too pussy to be in a conference. Like I just don't like them, and I don't think they're winning a playoff game unless they get the fucking perfect matchup.
Well,
Like I just don't believe in them. I think they're an okay team, but like you said, and Army's not a bad team, but that's might end up being their best win of the year.
No, they beat
Or
A&M.
A&M, they did.
But they're hanging their hat on beating A&M with not their quarterback. It's not the guy who is their quarterback anymore.
yeah.
That's the best scenario for the committee, I think, is if Texas beats A&M, then that win matters less. Then you could do whatever you want with Notre Dame, and A&M losing simplifies the equation for you, I think.
Yeah. It goes against everything I believe in because the games matter, but I would so much rather see Texas A&M in the playoff than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Again, goes against everything I've ever said, but yeah.
I think that the only thing that gets messy with the three loss SEC schools is that right behind them is 8-1 SMU, who
FMU?
has some sneaky oil money coming in, ready to rock and roll, and then Colorado has 2 losses and is ranked number 17. And I would bet the committee would love to get the Sanders boys into the college football playoff. So something to watch as well there. I don't know. I think 3 losses. I think that the committee likes to set precedents in these first couple of years. And I think a 3-loss team getting in the first year is something they would try their absolute hardest to not have happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about those 2 teams. I would rather them be in than a 3-loss team if Notre Dame were to lose another game. But yeah.
3 losses is also a lot in college football.
Yeah, you should have double-digit regular season wins to make the college football playoff.
Yeah. 3 losses is you should be fringe top 25 with 3 losses in college football. Usually, that getting in the playoff would be. I don't care what conference they're coming out of. 3 losses is a really bad look to let into the playoffs.
Well, they always say the SEC just beats up on each other because they're all so good, so it's whatever. But every single year of the old playoff, there is still an undefeated, 1-loss, absolute juggernaut that was beating up on everybody else. So this year, it just looks. We've said it before. It's just wide open. And one thing I would like to note: this isn't Pitt hate because they actually played really well this year. When they have a really good season, it's good to see. But the ACC is taking a crazy step back.
Yeah.
Because even the far and away the best team that people are looking at is Miami being no one's really convinced that they would make a deep run in the playoff. And honestly, no one's really convinced that they would have done well against if there was interconference play, they would have done well against other people in the regular season.
I think that they made it clear from the ranking of Miami at 9 and SMU at 14, both with only 1 loss. They've essentially said the ACC champion will be the only ACC team in the playoff.
Yeah. I should put it to bed where they talk about the Big Ten being I've had people this year arguing that the ACC is still superior to the Big Ten.
That's who says that?
Really?
He's a Clemson fan, so I guess that makes sense.
Jesus Christ!
Well, where the fuck is Clemson? Because they played that fucking. It's just because Clemson has lost to those teams. They're they have to be fucking good. They beat Clemson.
So
I think his point was just Clemson won 2 national championships in recent memory, so the ACC is blah blah blah. It's you're one dynasty per team.
So I was looking at the updated bracket here. Do you think the committee is going to be ranking these? So I guess how I'm going to phrase the question in the 14 playoff, the committee made an effort to not have like repeat matchups in the first round of the playoffs. And the seeding kind of was like, these are the four best teams. And then like we were going to re-rank them based on like how we think fan bases will travel, that kind of thing. Do we think that they're going to manipulate this bracket at all to kind of lean on more like to get better rivalry games in the first round, or see, would it make more sense logistically to have like, I don't know, Indiana play at Penn State in the first round rather than make, Notre Dame travel all the way to Alabama, shit like that, right? Do you think there's going to be any sort of manipulation? Or do you think they're going to just straight rank them?
I think they've actually backed themselves into a corner where they're doing the opposite of that. Where I guess I don't know about the first round, but the way the rankings are set up right now, four of the top five teams are Big Ten schools, which means the Big Ten champion is going to be number one, and the second best, either Ohio State or Indiana, whoever wins this game and then goes on to the Big Ten championship. Like whoever wins the Big Ten is going to be one, and whoever loses that game between Oregon or one of those two is going to be five, and that's a potential semifinal matchup. And then you're also in that saying that the SEC champ will be the two seed, and you would probably put your second best SEC school right behind your second best Big Ten school at six, I would think. So they're almost setting themselves up for like a Big Ten side of the bracket and an SEC side of the bracket.
Yeah.
I could see them doing that if it's like really close and it doesn't like 7 and 8, like you could kind of flip a coin. They both have two losses, Like I could see them doing that. I don't think anything drastic necessarily.
So I think like what prompted this question is looking at the bracket, the seeding you could very easily manipulate and go from Tennessee versus Notre Dame and Penn State versus Ole Miss and Indiana playing Alabama to first round Tennessee, Alabama, and Penn State, Notre Dame, which would be two like rivalry games in the first round. You would get more TV viewership, I would imagine, from the fan base. I mean, fan base are going to tune in regardless. Outside viewers, I think, would be a little more interested in seeing the rivalry games. So just something I'm interested to see how they treat that, and I'm also interested to see how they treat these conference championships. Um, Ohio State could end up with two losses, and they're the two teams behind Ohio State, Indiana and Penn State's only loss would be to Ohio State. Like, would you just say the conference championship only matters for the one seed in that scenario?
I think Ohio State would still be ahead of them because the two losses are to the same team.
Yeah.
The number one team in the country, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the national or the conference championships, like in this scenario, when so many more teams are like have a shot at it, when it's four teams, it's kind of easy to say, well, you had your chance, you lost, you're out.
Yeah.
But like this, since there's so many more teams alive, I think if you go into a national championship game and you're comfortably in, and you lose to a team that's like Ohio State comfortably in. That's probably a bad example, but like if you have two losses as an SEC team and say you're going in there and you're playing at the time, say it's number 2 Texas or whatever, and fucking someone catches their third loss, I don't necessarily think they should be out. I think you have to look at what all is going on with the teams more towards the 10 and 11 spot to see if they've had enough wins to earn it, because I don't think you can penalize a team for having to play an extra game because they were better than the teams below them.
The committee has done that in the past, though, in the 14 playoff.
Yes.
So I agree with you, but there was precedent for this being done.
I think that's kind of a case for why it makes sense and it looks nice and it visually the conference championship winners to get that first round bye, but I feel like a structure where they just basically judge everybody on the scale of the OG 4 team playoff is how they pick the top four, and then you still guarantee a spot to the conference champion, but they don't necessarily get that first round bye right off the bat because it makes you think of like ideally for us, I would be pumped if Penn State finished with a spot to play Miami after winning like an okay, like having a tougher, like their first game might be harder than
Yeah, right now it would be Ole Miss and
so
BYU for their first two
yeah.
games.
So like I think it makes sense to do it that way, and kind of to you guys' point about like playing that extra game in the championship is also not super detrimental because I mean with the Big Ten, um, like you said, Ohio State could lose to Oregon twice if they get there. If Ohio State loses to Indiana, it could be Indiana up there. It's just like a whole. It makes it. I think it makes it more messy if
Yeah,
these random things happen at the end of the year.
I think that they should be guaranteed a top 8 seed for winning their conference because then you either get a like the bye and like the situation that you're in right now, or you at least get a home playoff game at the very least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, Miami, they're 9, right? If you made them 8, I don't think anybody would. If they did win the ACC and you made them 8, like that's not egregious, really. I don't think.
Yeah,
Um,
it feels like it's the Big Ten and the S. I mean, it's what everyone expected going to the season. It feels like Big Ten and SEC, and then a gap, Big 12 and ACC. Um, I do think you can make the argument these Big Ten schools are inflated because the bottom of the Big Ten is a lot worse, I think, than the bottom of the SEC. But um, I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the playoff. But I'm all for splitting up. I would love to see just Big Ten versus SEC up and down the board to get an actual grasp on who is good and who isn't.
it might be a way for them doing it this way to sneak more SEC schools deeper into the playoff. Because like if you look at the projected bracket, Tennessee, Bama, Ole Miss playing in the 5 through 12 spots games, and then having that weaker. Now it does look like the side of the bracket that has Miami is the Ohio State Boise game, but think if you think about it in the future, it's like we can have a route to we don't put 4 SEC schools in the top 4, 3 or whatever, but we very much so could in the second week have a ton of them playing still.
I
yeah,
mean, and if that happens, they deserve it. They won the games against the
Yeah,
other teams, right?
right. That's
Like
what
they
I was
were.
gonna say. Is they? I get your point, but also they would have beaten the other teams that would make the playoff anyway if they were whether they were the higher or the lower seed. Like I get it's going somewhere versus hosting it, but yeah, I do think that. Yeah, the SEC is so interesting right now because I think like Ole Miss felt deader than dead, and then after that win, they have a bye. Then Florida, and Mississippi, or Mississippi State, like they should like 100%. They're within the 12 right now. Like they should 100% make it.
they had to
They're
lay an egg when we were going to win $1,000.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
Tennessee, despite being one of the two one loss SEC schools, them in Texas. I think Tennessee might be in the most jeopardy. I think they're the only team that has two
I agree.
losable games. They play at Georgia, then they play UTEP, then they play at Vandy. Imagine if they lose to Georgia and they're kind of teetering, and then they lose at Vandy.
I think even with two losses, so Tennessee. I mean, I don't know. It feels like gets discredited a lot for being a one-loss SEC school. I feel like two losses for Tennessee, like we could see Tennessee out of the playoff bracket next weekend with a loss, and could very easily get locked out depending on how the matchups happen, just because no one else lost in front of them.
Well, that's what I mean about Georgia. If Georgia beats them, and Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee all have the same record, also all of their best win is against like one of the other three, and they have a
Yeah,
loss against the other three. And I forget who said Bama would be out. I like it's not a great resume, but like they beat South Carolina, Mizzou, and LSU. It's kind of the most anybody's really done, other than Georgia. The Clemson win, I still
Bama,
think means something.
Bama's a very good resume.
Yeah.
I think Georgia sneaky may have had the toughest schedule in the country for like a good team. Obviously,
Yeah.
like some Mississippi State, they fucking whatever, but they're Mississippi State. But they've had some fucking tough games this year.
If they
At
Played
Texas,
Clemson week 1. We just forgot about it.
yeah, at Texas, at Bama. They're home against Tennessee, but like I'd have to look. I don't have the whole thing up in front of me, but they have not had an easy schedule this year.
If they beat Tennessee, I think they actually have to be the highest ranked 2-loss team.
They do have to play Georgia Tech the last week too, which has been a sneaky, tough game for a lot of teams as well.
Yeah,
I think if they beat Tennessee, they gotta have a better resume than Alabama, right? Tennessee would.
Tennessee would
still have. Yeah, Tennessee and Georgia would still have to. I think.
Well, I
because
think
Tennessee
Georgia
has the head-to-head against Bama, and that would mean that they beat Vanderbilt, who beat. I know that they would lose to Georgia that Bama beat, but the head-to-head together with that, because Georgia ends the season with 3 stinkers.
But I don't know.
I think Georgia's out. If Tennessee beats Georgia, Tennessee is 100% in. They're probably number 5. I think.
Yeah,
they're probably in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, they would be in the SEC championship against Texas. And I think the loser would be number 5, even if Ohio State loses.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Yeah. Also, just one thing is last week when I had said Ole Miss, we were talking about these scenarios, and I was talking about the crazy scenario where Ole Miss beats Georgia, and I was like, well, let's not even fucking talk about that because that's not going to happen. Nice job by me. Okay. Is that about to do it for that? Ready for NFL picks here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, baby.
Right. Okay, let's get into some picks. Last week, very, very neutral day, I would say, for the squad, or neutral weekend. Corey and I both 8-6, Mags 7-7, Eric 6-8. There is a discrepancy in there because a little behind the scenes. So, Big Maglio was in Happy Valley. He's a little too busy to send his picks in, so he just said to trail Corey. Not allowed.
There were too many Jello shots in me to give proper picks.
Yeah, so I probably should have said no to that, but I did allow it. But I was like, well, on last week's show, you were there and you did give out 5 picks. So I just wanted to check, and if there were any different between you and Corey on those, I took your actual pick, which produced one loser. Or one additional loser. So I think you had the was it the under in the Steelers game?
Yes.
Bad pick. Yeah. So that's where that comes from. Bearing the lead of Eric down 6 to 6-8. I thought you were gonna be upset.
Wait, I want to hear the percentages now because I don't have any qualms until I find out how much of a shift happened there.
Okay, well, all right. So Corey's winning 58.0%.
This far into the season, that's incredible. By the way, good job, Corey.
Yeah, that is fucking amazing. Yeah, I got to look at. I have it right here.
I was bragging about 58% through 7 weeks or whatever. Maybe, I guess less than that, 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah, you're 24 games over 500. That's nuts.
I'm just. It's going too well, and I always have a week somewhere in the NFL season every year where I drop a 2-fer or a 3-fer, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but
and
if you take an absolute bath, you're still going to be. You're still going to be up so much.
I'll still be in decent shape, but it'll hurt really bad. Just it's going to suck, and I'm waiting for it, and it's just usually it's week 6 or like week 7, like somewhere around there where I get like too confident that I know exactly what's gonna happen, and I get fucking walloped, and then I know nothing again, and that hasn't happened yet. And then the next few weeks following that usually are pretty rough as well. Um, so
Trying to
I'm a
find which
little
one.
nervous for like a little mini collapse.
All right. Well, for now, so Mags Mags is really on a heater, and I was just kind of looking at some of his past scores, and he's on quite the run. So I wanted to put together a little stat for Mags, and then I thought it would be kind of fun to put together a stat for everybody. Um, but then I thought this would make Eric get really mad at me because he's the only one that's on not like a great stretch. And it's like the
Yeah.
ones
At least
after
I had
being so
good
good
enough
all
in the
year, I bust
season, good
out.
enough in the beginning. Yeah, I think depending on the outcome here, if I dip below Mag significantly, we should take an average of his scores the last few weeks to give him what he should deserve this week. He
Well,
can't just
actually,
trail the best one in the biz just because he got too drunk to send it in. He had a whole week to send it in. Didn't.
That's fair.
So
well,
That's fair.
this is
That's
what I'm
fair.
talking about with Mags though. He was 7-7 this week. That's his worst week since week 4.
Jesus
I like
Christ.
that stat.
So
I like that stat, Lou.
actually got worse. Yeah, so Mags, uh,
I did you guys a favor.
yeah, over 500 every week since week 4, and the best or tied for the best record 3 of the last 6 weeks, 51 and 37 in that span. I'll go ahead. I'll give the other stats. I'll just make Eric mad a little bit.
whatever.
Give me my
Corey,
flowers.
5 weeks in a row over 500, 44 and 29 in that span. Eric and Mags, you guys are back to the exact same percentage, 53.6%. The difference is in the last 4 weeks, Eric is 26 and 33.
Ah,
Three out of 4 weeks under 500. And mine is that after only 1 week over 500 in the first 5 weeks, I've only had one sub 500 week in the last 5 weeks. So 42 and 31. Climbing, I'm at 49.3%. I'm 2 games away from 500 after that disaster of a start.
I think I've run into you know how we talked in the beginning of the season, like the first week is kind of a wash. You're making picks based on the off season, and then weeks 2 3 you're figuring people out, and so like you get into that sweet spot around 4 where you think you have an idea of what people are. And then we went through the middle of the season where random stuff happens. The Chiefs win every game, and then I think we're kind of at like a return cycle. It's come full circle where it's now people are coming back from injuries, people are doing whatever. It's like kind of a up in the air part of the season.
Yeah,
I've been
this
trying to predict trends and been wrong, which is what's going on.
yeah, I feel like this is where um when you kind of develop that idea of a team early on, and then at the end of the season you're like, oh, like by the end of the year you're like, this is what this team is. I feel like this part of the year is when they start to formulate that, and if it's way different from the beginning of the year, it's so easy to get fucking lost on
Yeah.
bullshit ass teams like the Colts.
I
But I did get
also
a Colts
have
game right.
another thing that may be hurting Eric is he bets against the Steelers every fucking week, and they're
True.
like
So
8-2 against the spread.
let's hate God
Not
is
every
hard.
week. I usually do points for you guys because I do like the total because at first you couldn't score any points, but nobody could score any points against you. Even a 34 point under felt good to me. And now you actually score points and but like I don't know. I felt like this one was a good. I like the Commander. They're just more fun to me. I like the Steelers too. I don't whatever. Mags gave a lot of shit, so that one helps me lean against you. I think the
Where did
Dolphins,
I get singled out?
because you're like, oh, my dick pic for next week is whoever's playing the Dolphins. Don't even look at it clearly because you don't even put your picks in. But like, it's just I was too scared to bet on us the first week that Tua came back. But when he's when he's playing at Tua level, we're like an 11-win team. So I should have picked the Dolphins straight up
I
this week.
bet
I
the
just
money
like the
line last
Rams
night.
too.
I'm not a fucking scale.
Yeah, well, I would have gotten your flack in the group chat if they would have lost. We'd be like, the fucking Dolphins again.
Well, they are the fucking Dolphins. You just happen to be a fan of them.
Yeah.
I
I
took
do
the
kind of want
over. That was a fucking loser.
I bet the over too. Yeah, it was whack.
I do want to test this Eric Steelers theory. I'm just gonna go through. So through 10 weeks. So week 1 he bet the under, that won. Good job.
Thank you.
Week 2 bet the Steelers, they won. Good job. Week 3, where the fuck?
Can we do this with Mags and the Dolphins then?
You should do it with me and the Dolphins. I bet on the Dolphins every week and they lose. I'm 0-3.
No, that's why I don't.
Week 3, bet on the under, won. Good job. Oh fuck, this isn't going the way I planned.
Yeah,
Oh, here
exactly.
we go.
This is hurting the narrative.
No slander for me.
That was early.
Against your team.
Here we go. Steelers, week 4, bet the under, lost. Suck it. Week 5, where are the Steelers? Bet the Cowboys, won. That's a
Suck
hater
it.
move, even though it's a win.
They were still good. They were still good in week 5.
Week 6, bet the Steelers, won. That's a smart thing to do. Good job. Week 7, bet the under, lost. Hater move, paid for it.
5-2 so far for anybody counting.
Week 8, bet the over, won. Got smart. He fucking knows they score fucking points. Week 9, bye. Last week, bet the Commanders, lost.
6-3. I mean, there's
Hater.
That is I'm glad you did it because that's data showing that I am the opposite of a hater for you guys, and I'm pretty accurate at betting your team. Mags bets against the Dolphins just to be a dick.
But your losses
This
were
is true. I'm not denying that.
your losses were 1 against the Steelers and 2 unders.
But unders were
score
more a
fucking
testament
points
to
and
your
win.
defense.
If you know so much about us, you should know that we score a lot of points and win.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
That's the kind of team.
I think they're 8-2 or 7-2 against the spread
over the course
now.
of the season.
Being 6-3 is better than anybody on the season. So
I'm
That would be
7-2 because I bet them against the spread
against
every week,
totals.
and I think that's what they are.
oh really? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, could we go? How about we do Mags with the Steelers?
Mags does bet a lot of Steelers unders.
I
This
do.
is gonna now. I gotta find
He's
it.
got to beat
Burned
6-3.
by 2 years of Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky's to just.
Okay.
I refuse to believe
Years-
my eyes when I see them hitting
Years of
overs.
completely different people on the offense have changed his decision making this year, and I think even if he comes out as 6-3 with me, that's a win for me. Not being a fan, so
Okay, I'll do Mags really quick.
it's a tall
Week
tale.
1, bet the under, 1. Week 2, bet the under, 1. Week 3,
Hater.
bet the Steelers, 1. Week 4,
I know I lost at least one.
oh fuck, this is the same one I could. Oh,
That was the Colts game.
yeah. Week 4, bet the Steelers, lost. Week
Uh-oh.
5, bet the over, lost. Week 6,
That's belief, though.
bet
That's
the
right.
Raiders, lost. That's
Nah,
a hater.
hater.
This
That's
is
a
when,
hater
this
move.
is when the
Raiders.
That's a hater move.
This is when
That
the
was on me.
Yankees started. This is when the Yankees started, and he started betting against the Yankees, and then he started betting against the Steelers because it worked.
I was betting against Penn State too, for the record.
Week 7, bet the over, 1.
4-3.
Week 8, bet the Giants, lost.
All right, well that's over. It's
Jesus
over.
Christ.
Week 9 bye, and then this week bet
The under, I think.
bet the
Yeah,
Steelers.
because you got Corey's pick. If you wanted the under, which
Oh,
is what
true.
your knee-jerk reaction
No,
was.
but I said on the podcast I took the under, so that should have been my pick.
Yeah, and that lost.
Yeah, so 4 and
fuck
5.
you. Garbage.
Great point.
All right.
Anyways, I've
Beat the
learned my
odds.
lesson. I've
Beat
learned
the
my
hater
lesson.
odds.
I've learned my lesson.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel
Okay.
so vindicated.
So, I don't know if you are. You're still a hater. I stand by it.
I'm 6-3. The
I think
majority of
it's-
them picking you guys.
I think it's all because the one week you tried to make your dick pick against the Steelers.
True.
Yeah, that
that
is
should
what it
count
is.
as like 5.
Did that pick the pick one, didn't it?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
But you get what I'm saying is I ride the Dolphins every week because I'm a real friend.
It's a little
That's just
sus.
not true.
It's a little sus.
You like the
And they
value.
get
You like
and
the
they get
value.
I
huge
don't think
money.
an under is riding with the Steelers because you're rooting for us to not score.
That's
No,
exactly
I'm
right.
rooting
I
for your
would love
defense
for our new
to
quarterbacks
shut
to
them
score.
down. Theoretically, in every under I pick, you guys could score 34 points and shut them out. I'm betting on your defense being great.
He's got you there.
That is fair. I can't really
It is
argue
the
think
with
of
best
that.
that.
defense in, I don't know if it's numbers wise, but I would feel the most confident if I had your defense, probably over anybody in the league. I mean, the Broncos are what? It's you guys and the Broncos and
The Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I actually don't know if our defense is as good as people who don't watch every Steelers game think it is. There's just long stretches of games where I feel like we can't do anything.
This defense is actually different than like the past few years where we finally have that middle linebacker that can kind of go sideline to sideline and make plays in the run game as well, where we didn't have that before and we got eaten alive over the middle, even if we had a good defense. So I think it's definitely a more complete defense than we've had in the past. It's just like they're not quite forcing turnovers at the rate I would like them to be forcing turnovers at.
That's a good way to put it.
Well, the
Yeah.
Dolphins are tied for fourth least takeaways, at least before the game yesterday.
Who?
So, the Fins.
Who asked, buddy? Who asked, guy?
God
Who asked, guy?
damn it.
Who the fuck asked, pal?
God damn it. Hey, all of our day one fans can see how I've been gaslit tonight and just just mugged by the three guys opposite me. This is why the Chargers are my second favorite AFC team.
That's
The
a
Chargers
fucking
are also
weird
my
ass-
second favorite AFC team.
I don't
Damian
think the
Thomas.
Chargers are anyone's first favorite team, though. So I think it kind of evens out when they have a
Well,
bunch
that's
of second
perfect
favorites.
because I said second favorite. Yeah, so that has nothing to do with it. That's a good point.
Olivia's first bet she ever made was on the Chargers.
Nice.
They won. Now every time that they're on the TV, she says, "Bolt up." All right, let's do some picks. Let's get going here. Week 11. We're starting off Thursday Night Football. Commanders plus 3.5 at the Eagles. Over under 48.5. Last week the Commanders dropped to 7-3, 28-27 loss at home against the Steelers. Eagles improved to 7-2, smacked the Cowboys in Dallas 34-6. I feel like the Steelers Commanders game was a perfect kind of they're identical teams, but they're not. Like I expected. Oh man, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but it's the Commanders are definitely better than the Steelers, but the Steelers are just like a more experienced team, like a more veteran group, and just a team that wins those kind of games, and the Commanders are a team that loses those kind of games. And so I felt confident in that. Now I feel like this is the same kind of thing where as much as Eagles fans bitch, like they've kind of been the class of the NFC East since they won that Super Bowl. I know like the division winner changes hands all the time, but they've been probably the most consistently good team. I think the Cowboys have had higher regular season peaks, but I do think the Eagles have always been the team to beat in NFC East. 3.5. I fucking hate betting on the Eagles to cover shit because they almost feel like Ravens-esque to me. But 3.5 is such a small number. It's at home. I think the Commanders are maybe not as good as everyone was getting ready to say that they were. And the Eagles, I think I picture the Eagles winning the division. This would put a stranglehold on it heading into the end of the season. I'm going to bet on the Eagles.
I think Thursday night game, it scares me a little bit, but I'm going to go over. I don't think the Commanders' defense is very good. I think they still have issues there. I think the Eagles are going to be able to run the ball on them like pretty effectively. And then, that when the Eagles get the run game going, that really opens up the play action, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith downfield. And I think the Commanders are going to be able to score too. Their offense, I think the Steelers' defense actually did a better job against them than I thought they were going to. It was really two drives. The drive at the end of the first half, and the drive at the beginning of the second half where they hit the big play to McLaurin. But other than that, they had like a 12-yard touchdown drive or whatever it was, and a field goal drive. But I think they're going to be able to put up some points against the Eagles. I think Brian Robinson might be back.
I think he is back.
Yeah,
I have McNichols in fantasy, so I've been monitoring that, and
Yeah, I have Brian Robinson in fantasy, so I've kind of been looking at that.
Big
But
dick.
I'm gonna take the over, even on a Thursday night game, 48.5.
Yeah, Eric, do you want to go, or do you want me to go?
You got it.
Got it. I
You
I
just
think
want us to reiterate what Corey said for your turn?
I mean, I am tailing him on that. I am going over as well. Lewis, did you say the number is 48.5?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so I think for all the reasons Corey listed with the Washington defense being bad, and also like the Nick Sirianni factor in this game, and that he just cannot close out games and is going to let a team slowly creep back in. The Eagles secondary worries me a little bit because they're kind of sneaky good. But I think there should be a lot of points in this game. And I think I saw Washington's overs have hit at like a 70% clip. So give me over 48.5.
Yeah. I think also what Corey said with the run, it scares me because I feel like you get into these Eagles games, it could be high scoring, and then they just chew a bunch of clock. Like I'm trying to think of the Eagles Falcons game earlier in the season. It just felt like nobody did anything, just going back and forth down the field and chewing up clock. But I don't know. I still really like the Commanders. I do think like what Lewis said is they're going to lose games in the playoffs because there's going to be teams with more experience. But I think I want to root for a fun game on Thursday night, so I'm going to go with the over as well.
There you go.
Yeah, also
All right.
fuck the Eagles.
Yeah, I fucking hate doing it, but it's.
I wanted to take the Commanders spread, but
I do too. I think if it was like 4.5, I'd maybe do it.
Are the Eagles the like most consensus hated team among this podcast?
it's got to be.
Probably, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
I just don't like them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Nick Sirianni is such a fucking clown. The Commanders will get 3 to 7 points based on decisions he makes.
Their fans
this
smell
game.
bad. Eagles fans
Yeah.
just smell like fucking armpit. Fucking unwashed, dirty ass is what's coming out of Philadelphia.
Clip that for the
Clip
for
that.
the video,
Clip
for the
that.
YouTube.
Put that under the fucking Eagles, whatever their last tweet is. Just put that
What's
right
going
there.
on the TikTok?
Yeah. Also, I gotta close the book on our betting on specific teams discussion. So while you guys were picking, I went on a little side quest and I did my own picks for the Dolphins. Are you ready for this? I highlighted them so I can go through quick. Week 1, bet the Dolphins, lost. Week 2, bet the Dolphins, lost. Week 3, bet the Dolphins, lost. Week 4, bet the Titans, won. Week
Nice.
5, bet the Patriots, lost. Week 6, bye. Week 7, bet the Dolphins, lost. Week 8, bet the Dolphins, lost. Week 9, bet the Dolphins, won. Week 9, bet the Dolphins, won again. So we're on a 2-game. If not for this 2-game winning streak, I think it'd be 1-7 Dolphins.
Yeah, I would say betting on them when Tua was hurt is just absolute sicko move. There's like, why in the world would you ever? The worst. We had a quarterback play a game for us that has had 4 times more interceptions in his career than touchdowns that he's done. And he's on Tim Boyle. He's on an NFL roster. He's on an NFL roster, and he's had that many picks compared to touch. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Like whose
He's got to
kid
be
is he?
related to Roger Goodell or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah,
Tim Boyle sounds like the bully in like a movie centered around like fourth graders.
Timmy Boyle.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like Timmy Boyle is bullying our protagonist in that movie.
He says, "Who did this to you?" Timmy Boyle.
Anyway, well, sorry about that, bud. I'm glad it's on the uptick for you.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah, I always believed.
My
All right,
client's brother.
up next, Ravens -3 at the Steelers, over under 48.5. Ravens, both these teams off a 1 point win. Ravens 7-3 after a 35-34 win against the Bengals on Thursday night. Steelers, like we just said, beat the Commanders to go to 7-2. The winner of this game will be leading the AFC North. I'm not going to dick around. I think everything in this game points to the Ravens, but I'm a true fan, so I'm betting on the Steelers.
Yep. Yeah, that's Steelers +3. The only thing that I have to talk myself into us being able to win this game, well, there's two things. Number one, the Ravens' pass defense is bad. They're just bad. And when they've been good, we've still beat them. The number two thing is Lamar Jackson is 1-4 against the Steelers in his career as a starting quarterback.
Come to a
And
working
we've
man's
had,
town. See what happens.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
we've had
Not that
fucking
fancy Baltimore.
we've had like not good teams. Like that 1-4 is like maybe like the ass end of Ben's career, and Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. Like those have not been good Steelers teams, and somehow we find a way to bottle up Lamar Jackson and win the goddamn football game. And I don't know why. Like we've had good defenses, but I don't know specifically why we've had success against them. But I'm
Because he's
just
not
gonna
good at
hope
throwing the ball, I think.
that also, yeah, and we have T.J. Watt probably has
Yeah.
something to do with it.
That's going to age so bad, I think.
It is, yeah, yeah. I don't feel great about it, but I can't lie. I can't like, the +3 AFC North, tough football teams, close games. Lamar hasn't been able to beat us. Hopefully, we fucking pull another one out of our ass. We fucking beat him last year with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why can't we win this game? That's mostly what I got.
So I got a good stat on here to back up my pick. In the history of Mike Tomlin versus John Harbaugh, since I don't know when Harbaugh started, so like
Long ass
2010, 2009, the underdog is 23, 6-3 against the spread. So hitting at 79.3%. So at home, +3.5 is a lot of points for an AFC North game. So I'm taking the Steelers, and that would be that.
Well,
There we go. Big moment here.
what Corey said, I did look it up. So either Lamar's 1-4. I saw 2-4, but if he's 2-4 against the Steelers,
He
last
played a
week,
game. He got into his rookie season. I think he was like playing wide receiver, and they won.
okay,
When they were doing that shit. So he's 2-4 in his career. I think 1-4 as a starting quarterback.
Gotcha. And then last week, I think I said on here that the measuring stick game with the Commanders Steelers, I was like figuring out which one I actually thought was gonna be good, and honestly could be thinking Soupy from the winner of that one. So, and the Steelers have been so good against them. I think that I'll have to go Ravens -3 for this one. I just, it's not a hater move. Spin zone is that I want to pick the Steelers so bad that I've been so bad the last couple of weeks that I'm betting against what I actually think is going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to go Ravens -3 here.
I believe the term gaslighting was used earlier. I just want to drop that in there.
I'm thinking this is a good thing for you guys. It's a good thing. I'm doing it for you.
I have one more thing on the Steelers real quick. I am not letting George Pickens trick me into thinking that Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback. I'm not. He's played fine. He was 14 for 28 for under 200 yards last week. I'm not letting, but it's working is the thing. So I'm just going to let it go because I was very anti Russell Wilson starting games when the move was made. 3-0, very good. The offense has been all right. It's been better. I I'm still not like I'm not full sussy for Russie yet. Um, because I thought
It's
he had a pretty bad game overall. He made some good throws, which he makes throws that like not everyone can make. There's a few of them. Like the George Pickens sideline ball was a great fucking perfectly placed ball against the Commanders. But that guy, like he had some bad ones, and that worries me a little bit because I don't think you're going to be able to get away with that against the Ravens. You're not going to be able to get away with fucking chucking it up to Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson on third down 6 times.
it
Um,
bothers me that he became so annoying because it felt like when we were growing up and Russell Wilson was, at the helm out in Seattle, he was like a super exciting player to watch. And like when I played Madden back in the day, I would always want to play with them because he was fun to play with. And he was just quieter. And then he became this just weird douchebag. And it kind of ruins it because I feel like if he just was quiet and had the career he's had, people would be thinking not Hall of Fame or whatever, but like people would think that he's one of the best ones in our era for sure. I'd say because he played behind horrible offensive lines with some super fun Seahawks teams out there, but he's just a weirdo
I like that he's been very quiet generally since he
in
got to
in
Pittsburgh. It's
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
making this a lot better. But I will say this, for kind of regardless of how he plays, if we win this game, I'm fucking in. I am all the way in if we win this game. 2 game
Sussy
lead
for
in the
Russie.
division. I'm sussy for Russie if we win this game. We'll have a 2 game lead in the division with what, 7 to go?
We're on
Something
Sussy
like
watch
that.
this week.
Yeah, we are
I,
on. I'm on sussy watch. I might blow him if we win this game.
yeah.
I did look up because it's weird. I think Lamar he's played like 10 or 11 games now against the Bengals, and he's played almost no games against the Steelers.
He's a
So I
pussy.
looked
He's
it up.
afraid of TJ.
He's been injured
I think he
like every year.
I think he fucking is. Yeah, remember what was it? Snoop Huntley against either Rudolph or Duck was a game that definitely happened.
Snoopy
Rudolph
Duck.
was the last week of last season, week 17 or 18 or whatever. Rudolph versus Snoop.
Yeah. So there was in 2018 when he was a rookie, both of those games are listed. He threw one pass attempt in both of those two games combined. 2019 he only played one game. 2020 he only played one game. 21 he only played one game. Didn't play either game against the Steelers in 22, and then only played against this one game last year. So there you have it. All right. Moving on. Seahawks plus 6.5 at the Niners. Over under 49.5. Last week the Seahawks were on a bye, and the Niners got a 23-20 win at the Bucks to go to 5-4. So the Cardinals are fucking hot. I don't understand how it's happened. I bet on them to win like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, they don't do the back-to-back wins thing, and I keep betting against them, and they've been pounding my fucking ass for like 3 weeks. And both of these teams need a win to keep pace. I think the Niners are a better team than the Cardinals, and I think if they lose this game, they're still not in full panic mode. I think if the Seahawks lose this game, the season's starting to slip away because, yes, the Niners are probably the best team in your own division, but off a bye, taking a loss when you're already 2 games under 500, and the NFC is very tough. Like I don't even think I think 9-8, you definitely don't make the playoffs. I think there's even a chance a 10-7 team could miss the playoffs in the NFC. So I think if you drop to 4-6, already not being like that talented, like having Geno Smith as your fucking quarterback, for example, I think they're totally fucked. And I think that if we're saying this team could be completely like, I know that there is a hungry dog runs faster. If you're desperate for a win off a bye, I feel like the signs point to that you could maybe get one. But I think if we're saying in week 11 the Seahawks season could be ending, they're probably not good enough to beat the Niners in San Francisco when the Niners are like getting everyone back. I kind of think the Niners might kick the shit out of them. And so I'm going to bet on them. I'm going to look stupid again, putting the clown makeup on right now, betting the Niners to cover a big number that they won't fucking do. They'll win this game by 4, but I'm still going to bet the Niners.
Yeah, pass me that shit because I'm betting on the Niners again too, and I just keep fucking losing. But I want to be there when they win by fucking 30 against
Right. I
someone.
need to. I need
Um,
to. I've earned it.
yeah, I same thing, dude. I just keep betting on them, and they keep not covering big numbers. But they keep getting the big numbers for fucking idiots like me to put my money on them, and I'm gonna keep fucking doing it. Um, just because I think the Seahawks are dead. Um, and the Niners they're not dead. They're good. I think they might still end up winning the division. Not that that's a hot take or anything, but I just believe in them. They turn it on in the second half of the season every fucking year. Last week, I thought they were going to beat the Bucks by more. The Bucks hung in there. Um, but this week, this is the week that I thought last week was. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Niners minus 6.5.
I'm gonna go, man. I'm in my head on this one, and I think I'm gonna go with Seahawks plus 6.5. I think that the Niners, like you said, are a better team, but I'm basing my pick entirely off of Seahawks coming off a bye and San Francisco coming off a cross country road trip back to San Francisco. Um, could look very foolish on this one, but I think, like you said, the Seahawks kind of need this to keep their season alive. So it's going. I think the Niners still win this one, but um, I like the Seahawks plus 6.5, and I wouldn't hate a bet where you take like Seahawks first half money line, Niners full time money line in this one.
I same reason, travel, and I think the Seahawks are dead. I feel like 6.5 is a lot. With did are they going to bench Moody? Are they trying something else? Because I
I
feel
haven't
like
seen anything on what is going to happen with him.
I was trying to
Debo
look it up and
fucking
I didn't
punched
see
him in the
anything.
face.
But
So
le- leaving that many points on the board is like I just imagine taking a touchdown spread and they could have won the game by 16 and he
True.
misses all these field goals and you're just like, I mean, it's a clear thing that's been in my face the whole time. And I think I like the under. I'm going to go with the under in this game. It feels like kind of a lot of points with CMC coming back and looking good last week. He got like 100 all-purpose yards or whatever. So I think he'll probably get a little bit more into the running game this week. And we just kind of churn clock, and I think the Seahawks will do stupid shit. Jano will throw a pick like Jameis Winston-esque pick, and we'll keep it low scoring. But I do think the 49ers win, and at least this one I can they can afford to win by 20 and cover for you guys, but under 49.5.
So
yeah,
what the fuck is going on with Jake Moody? Because he was like bad last year, and they're just letting him be bad again this year.
Tim Boyle of kickers.
Yeah,
We're
like I
just
don't. I get they drafted him, but like you're a Super Bowl contender. It's gonna fucking kill you at some point.
well.
It
There's
just is.
it doesn't make sense to me how there's not somebody like it sucks, and you don't want to lose confidence in somebody that's in your team or whatever. But it feels like the NFL should have people on deck that if somebody is below 80% inside of 40 or whatever,
Yeah.
they should probably just
Well,
right away lose their job.
and the
Yeah.
other thing that makes me like I don't like talking about my kicker being good, but we got Chris Boswell off the street in the middle of a season, like
Yeah,
however many fucking
Right.
years ago.
I
And
feel
here
like
he
that
is.
happens to like 4 teams every year. Like the
Yeah,
Lions have a dude from the XFL. Like I don't
yeah,
Right. He
understand
just
why
won
these
them a game.
teams. Yeah, like these teams get married to these kickers, and it's like why? You can get a fucking asshole off the street, and he's kicking a 55-yarder to win you a Sunday night game.
I feel like the argument with him, people, and they said on PMT, but it's just like is the mental game. Like they're like, oh, they're not bad. They just, but I feel like that kind of gives you more of an argument for like just cutting them off, because then that's not something you can fix in practice. Like you can't be like, oh, he's I don't know, coming across the like the front too much, coming across the midline. It's like no, he is a really really good kicker. He just mentally cannot, and that's it's not really something you can do.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
sending a pig to slaughter every time.
Yes.
What was that, Lewis? Yeah,
Do you think he's just like automatic in practice? Because I feel like if he's having these performances in games, if he if he's hitting under like 80% with just like kicking off the little holder tee thing, like at
yeah,
practice onto the other side of the field that nobody's on, like
yeah.
if he's not
Stockholm syndrome.
crushing it in practice, he's got to be yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah. The
It
he's
coach
is
is
not
weird.
just
hitting,
watching that.
if he's not hitting from 75 in practice, I don't know why the fuck he's still their kicker. Like he's got to be just doing something to keep them around. Other than
It's
like, I get he was like you used a draft pick on him.
Mhm.
Looks pretty dumb at this point. Um, go you got to go get someone else. You can't let him
yeah,
keep getting away with this. You're like
yeah,
a Super Bowl contender, and your record, like I know their division's like still up for grabs and everything, but fuck, they lose to the Cardinals again. Like they're and the way that NFC is, like I don't think they're gonna miss the playoffs, but you can't go all year with a dog shit kicker when you're a team of like that caliber.
because it feels like it should be, obviously Shanahan's not going to get fired or something like that, but it feels like almost so egregious that it's a fireable offense to know that they suck all through the year, and like God forbid they lose by some like a missed field goal in the playoffs. It's like holy shit, it was staring at you in the face. It's kind of like you're saying at practice, you just nail in 70 yarders, and the coaches. It's kind of like looking at like I look at Keenan Allen on my bench each week, and he's projected 8 points, 9 points every single week, and he's absolutely not going to get there. So the projection doesn't matter for shit, but I'll still sneak him in the lineup. It's just it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that is. So yeah, what's the logic there? Because I think whatever you decide on in your head, that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Well, the only thing for me is that
yeah.
it depends if Mike Evans is off IR, and if I can throw, a different like two receivers in the slots and then have running backs in my flexes, because then he doesn't touch the field. But they don't
Yeah,
have
I guess.
apparently they don't have somebody to sneak in there.
Yeah, I guess the difference is you're trying to fill out starting or a starting lineup with 10 spots in it in a 12-man league, and he just needs to have one kicker.
With probably 300 kickers coming out of college, maybe not 300. We'll say
Yeah.
like 150 kickers coming out of college each year that probably hit close to like they would hit the same like field goals in practice. It would look the same.
Yeah.
I don't know that you never know. This could be their Josh Scobie. The next guy could be Chris Boswell. You just don't know.
God, I forgot about Josh Scobie.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's a disgusting
Also,
name.
not to shit on the people who picked the Seahawks. This is just an interesting thing because I feel like
The one people.
I thought Mags did too.
Huh?
No,
I thought
Eric
Mags
took
did,
Niners, I
I
think.
picked the
Eric took
under.
the under.
Or the
Jeez.
under,
Oh,
yeah.
my
Yeah.
bad. You are a totals guy for sure. I've noticed
Yep.
that. I feel I've bet on the Seahawks a lot, and I haven't felt like they sucked against the spread. They're the third worst team in the entire league against the spread. They're 2-6-1.
This would be my first time.
Do.
I haven't put any actual money down on the Seahawks yet this year, but I feel good about this one. I would think about putting it in this game, but now I'm a little nervous too.
Yeah. Also, the three teams are one of these teams is a push, but there's three teams that are 7-2 against the spread. Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions, Pittsburgh Steelers. Hell yeah. All right.
That's right, baby.
Next game, Falcons plus 2.5 at the Broncos. Over under 44.5. Both these teams off a loss. Falcons lost 2017 at the Saints. Broncos, a game they absolutely should have won. Talk about fucking kickers. 16-14 loss at the Chiefs. This is a big are they good game. What the fuck is so funny?
Just
what did I do?
no, it was just the way you said talk about fucking kickers. I don't know.
Who's fucking a kicker?
Yeah. Yeah, no response. This is Are They Good Bowl for the ages. Especially because both awful loss. That means one of these teams is going to go from feeling very good about themselves a week ago to a week from now being like, fuck, we've lost 2 games in a row. And what is our direction here? I do think the Falcons are a better team. Makes me feel like this is kind of a rat line. I think I'm going to bet the... Okay.
I would not.
Should we jump back in?
Yo. Yo, Max is fucking chewing right now.
Max is munching, son.
that boy hungry.
My mom got me back chocolate from Iceland, so I'm eating it.
It's all over.
ASMR corner.
God damn it. Made me spill my fucking water. God damn it. Can't fucking have shit in this house. I just saw a insane fucking comment in one of those side chats, like on an illegal stream. I'm just gonna send a picture.
FBI at FBI.
Say it. Say it out loud.
Can't say that one. All right. Well, Lewis, you were saying you're taking the over, right?
Yeah, all 3 of my monitors went black. I could hear people being like, what the fuck is happening? And then I kept trying to come back, and it was like, you don't have a camera. And I was like, I do for sure. And then I even tried to join without a camera, and they were like, actually, you're not allowed to join at all. Sorry. So,
Dust.
But yeah, wherever the fuck I left off, my computer took a shit, and I'm taking the over just because I don't really feel confident in either of these, but the Falcons and Kirk really need to bounce back, and Bo Nix has been the fun kind of Bo Nix. So, yeah, I'll continue to ride that one. So, oh yeah, that's the thing that you cannot say on here, Mags. I would agree.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
That's they're in Denver, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Feed them to alligators. Feed this group to alligators. You fill in the blank. Mad Libs. All right, sorry. Yes, they're in Denver.
They're God, I was telling Eric, these are 2 teams that I just have not, I don't think I've liked betting specifically on them this year, because I just don't know. You don't know which version of each team is showing up each week. Like, I just bet on the Falcons against the fucking dog shit Saints. Interim coach, I know, but like, they're a fucking bad football team. And they lost straight up. The Broncos, that's a heartbreaker, and I think I'm going to go with the Falcons plus the 2.5, because I feel like that kind of loss sticks with you. It's the kind of loss that can tend to linger. But I feel like so I'm going to go with the Falcons, because I think they just lost to a rival. They're worse than them, which could also fucking linger, so I don't fucking know. Anyway, Falcons, but I think the loser of this game might go on a little skid here, because I don't really believe in either one of them.
Yeah, I'm going to go opposite way. I'm going Broncos minus 2.5. I also don't really have any feeling for this game. I'm just basing that pick on, I feel like Bo Nix is pretty fun to watch, and I kind of want to just have I want to have a reason to root for him in this one. But I was trying to look at like team over unders. Both of these teams are pretty middle of the pack in terms. I think like one team is at 60%, one team's at 40%. So it's like dead even there. This is just a game that is probably going to have like I don't know. I feel like Scott Hansen's going to forget about this game on Red Zone for a little bit. But give me Broncos minus 2.5.
This is like the ultimate look like a fucking idiot game. I feel like because like Corey's saying, you don't know which one's going to show up. It's like Broncos been playing well. They playing tough. They play the Chiefs close. So if you bet against them and they do what they've been doing, you feel kind of dumb. But then if you bet on the Broncos and they just give you just a straight up Broncos game, and then you look across the field and you see Bijan and all the guys over there in Atlanta. And I like it, so it's fun guy versus I like him guy. So I like Kirk Cousins, nice guy, versus just be more fun to vote or to root for Bo. But I think I'm also gonna go Falcons plus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm flipping to the Falcons actually. I think Corey, the point that you made about a loss that sticks with you, I feel like the story next week is going to be, what the fuck, the Broncos were almost the only team to beat the Chiefs, and now all of a sudden they just got their fucking asses kicked. And I'm waiting on that one. So yeah, I'm switching to Falcons. All that build up and the computer crashing just for me to not even stick with that pick. There you go. All right. Last game for NFL. Chiefs plus 1.5. Undefeated team is plus 1.5 at the Bills. Over under 46.5. The Chiefs, we just said, got that win over the Broncos. Bills off a 30-20 win at the Colts to go to 8-2. This over under feels low. It feels like it's begging you to take the over and probably lose with the over. I'm going to take the Bills. The Chiefs fucking got to lose at some point. They've been dying to lose a game. They went through the whole compilation of all these weird ways that they've won, like the Isaiah Likely foot, 2% of his foot over the line shit. They had to drive to beat the Bengals in week 2, which I totally forgot about. Like last week, they definitely should have lost to the Broncos, who are nowhere close to as good as them. And yeah, they got to lose at some point. And this feels like the Bills get them now. The Chiefs get them in the playoffs again. Big bad wolf. But this will give the Josh Allen supporters of the world hope. And yeah, it's just one of those where it's like, hey, how's that team favored? Because Vegas knows they're going to win. Bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills as well. I kind of feel like whatever I pick here is a loser. But I like the Bills. I think a lot of the Chiefs close wins, like a lot of close wins, but they haven't played a lot of they had the 2 early games against the Bengals when they weren't very good, playing very good ball, and like you said, the Ravens with the Likely's foot a quarter inch out of bounds or whatever. I think this is a game where Josh Allen, like there's a quarterback on the other side that can go down and win a football game on his own at the end of the game. Not that obviously Mahomes will do the same thing, but I think if the Bills get the ball last, they have a chance to go down the field even on that pretty solid Chiefs defense and go get a win. They're at home. I'll take the 1.5.
I'm gonna be honest. I was gonna take Bills minus 1.5, but after hearing you guys both take it, I gotta switch to Chiefs. I just I don't know. I was too in my head with the Bills minus 1.5, all that. So I'm just gonna close my eyes and say I'm getting an undefeated team as an underdog. Patrick Mahomes, I don't even know his record, but something stupid as an underdog. Like, dude just wins these games, and he does it
It's
against
a
the
lot in
Bills.
one, I think.
Yeah, like he just wins these games and wins them specifically against the Bills. I did just take a peek though. Regular season, he's like, I think it's 1-3 against. Yeah, it's like 1-3 in the regular season versus the Bills, so not great. But I just feel like the Chiefs have something like not something to prove, but it's like they really relish in that they like punch down at the Bills and just break their spirit. And I think that this is a game that they're like yeah, we're going to go balls to the walls to win this one, and then lay an egg next week because we just got it out of our system. So Chiefs -1.5 or
I don't feel
plus
like
one
I
and a
have.
half.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have much analysis here. Literally everything could have Chiefs win, Bills win, the over hits, or it's a tight, hard fought game, but just under the point total. So without thinking too much about it, and since Mags broke the line, I'm going to go back with the Bills. So
It's a
that
big week for me.
Yeah,
I think I've zagged on 3 of the 5.
make or break.
Legacy
I was going to say,
week
Mags,
for me.
we should maybe have an alliance towards the end of the season if Lewis is still fairly
I
close
could be
to
talked
catching
into
up.
that. I could be
We
talked
should
into
just
that.
retrail every Lewis pick.
Okay. Since Eric's such a Steelers hater, I'm outing this. Mags, there was an episode you missed earlier where he suggested we do the exact same thing to you, like 3 weeks ago. So,
Damn, I knew Mags wouldn't actually watch the episode, so I was.
What a fucking
But here's the
cocksucker.
thing. Well, here's the thing, Mags. We are literally in the spot to just do that. With Lewis,
no,
we had
he's
to
in
do
the
some work.
tailspin. We need to stay strong.
This week will decide a lot. I just hope I don't shoot myself in the foot. We'll see.
Oh no, who's gonna get to jerk off a lot? That sounds terrible.
And eat donuts.
Who's gonna have to drink beer and jerk off and eat donuts?
Yeah.
3 things I
fucking
fucking
sucks.
hate doing.
I do think it is the most real for me, just considering the amount of I've put a lot of thought into the logistics of it, like how what would I record and how I would
You gotta record at least one crank.
Yeah, you gotta just put a white
Yeah.
sheet and then do the light perspective thing.
Yeah. Send one pump to the group and we'll just count all of them.
Yeah, you need video evidence of your shadow busting. All right, so that's gonna do it. Follow us and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. The YouTube going crazy by our standards. So thanks everybody for tuning in. X.com. Follow us. Weekly picks, the unsolicited dick pics as well. That needs a win. That needs a win bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I keep selling it. I don't know what everyone else is doing, but I'm fucking.
Just gotta hit once.
It was really bad last week. Eric was the only one to win last week. And Instagram, putting up the weekly picks there as well. Also clips from the show. Also TikTok for clips from the show. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.